Hi everyone! Welcome to another sketch stretch. I'm Rachel Copera. I am an art teacher. Here we go, students and people alike, rock and roll. We're gonna find beauty in a coffee cup. How do we find beauty? Art is the way that you find beauty. In this art exercise, I invite you to go ahead, warm up with your pencil, and I will take you through that in real time. Don't freak out. This is just an overview. And I'm going to show you how that warm up of drawing ellipses, curvy lines, can help you to capture the curves of your coffee cup. We'll talk about how we should darken line weights and really define the edges of the coffee cup so we understand where it begins and it ends. And we will work on that light source. And if it's going too fast, hey, you could pause me. Then I will talk about the importance of shading the background. In this video, we're using some basic markers. You could really use any markers that you find. And we're gonna go ahead, we'll slowly work in value. I talk about adding light colors first, adding your darkest color and adding midtones. It really comes in different steps and you wanna go back and forth. As you're adding your color, you wanna change the direction that you're coloring in curvy lines, fat lines, skinny lines, and I'll talk about that in slow time. And I'll talk about why your coffee cup should be the lightest thing, because we want to show its beauty and we want it to pop out from the background. It should be light so it seems 3D. If you darken the background, if you darken the edges and the shadows, you'll get that three-dimensional effect. Don't forget to draw the shadow. We'll talk about defining the edges with pen. We'll write down some thoughts, lessons. I will make some jokes. So make sure, everyone, you have your materials. And we'll talk about hatching, cross-hatching, hatching, and shading. So thank you, guys. Here we go.
I am going ahead
and
video
I can't believe in real time. Get your supplies out.
But I am drawing meaningful artifacts in the city series.
Can't talk.
Makes you
that
happy.
Are part of my
identity. And my advice to you guys as we work on creating is to always start with a warm up. I am going around and around in circles right now with ellipses. Now my plan is to draw this coffee cup, and I tell my students to always warm up every single day that you warm up. So an ellipse is kind of like an oval thing. And the reason why we do that, why we draw with ovals, is because so many things like our face, our shoulders, the circle around our arms are made by ellipses. And also line weight. So lines can be in all sorts of different directions. Make sure you've practiced value as well. So I'm just like bringing up kind of like fundamental art things, concepts that I've already talked about in previous videos. So check out my previous videos. I love doing ellipses and I love doing this little warm up, and I still do it because it kind of like gets the arm going. So before you start drawing stuff, just make sure you're fluid. And make sure when you draw, you're kind of like moving from your shoulder instead of being like, ah. So an ellipse is dark to light, dark to light. Notice how one side is heavier and the other side is lighter, okay? So that's something to go ahead and keep in mind. Meaning the top of the ellipse, it kind of disappears. It has a lighter line weight. So it's not a complete circle. Again, this is line weight, dark to light. Dark to light. And why do I do this? Because we need to practice going from heavy to light, which is what I do in the ellipse. When I go down, I go dark to light. So just do this as many times as you can across the page before you start drawing, trying to render a meaningful object. Dark to light, dark. So don't stop. And there's no such thing as doing this too much. There's no such thing as too much line, everyone. Ellipses, dark to light, 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 dark to light. So why am I doing that? Because I will go ahead and I'll explain in a second that line creates value. I was wondering if I would forget to do this warm up. Value, I have a whole video on value scales, but it's still helpful to go ahead, stop, and go dark to light, dark to light. Now, for this exercise, you need pencils. I would recommend some dual tip markers, or you could do it with color pencils, but like some kind of like drawing tools with colors. We could get different values. See, I'm going dark to light. Value is the amount of black in a color. So practice slowly going from dark to light, ever so slowly. And you want it to be a slow transition. You don't want it to just be dark and then light. And wow, I made that really dark. It's a time to work out your frustration when you're doing art, going dark to light. Yeah. So video is a great way to teach with art. I feel like there aren't enough art videos out there. There are, but there aren't. I don't know, any art teachers out there feeling me? Students, this is the end of this portion of the video. Make sure you have all your supplies. Make sure you paused and you took your warm up and you posted your warm up. You turned your warm up. Show your warm up to me. Okay, so pause your video. Make sure you warmed up. So hopefully everyone got a second to warm up. I'm hoping that's the case. Don't skip that warm up, everyone. So I'm drawing my coffee cup. I invite everyone to draw things that are of personal significance. Why are we drawing one thing? Because we are seeing beauty in the littlest things. I mean, there is beauty everywhere. Now you could see right now why I went ahead and I took the time, people, to practice those ellipses. Because the top of the coffee cup, which I should have with me, is an ellipse. I love the coffee cup so much that it's in the dishwasher because I drink from it every morning. In this video, I'll also talk about why it's important to me because, hey, I got to entertain my students if they're going to stay tuned in. I want you to pick something that matters. You could draw any coffee cup right now. You could draw my coffee cup if you want. But when you're drawing a cup, the top is an ellipses. This coffee cup matters a lot to me because I've brought it all over the country. Here I am in New York City. I drove from Los Angeles with this coffee cup. That is how much I care about this coffee cup. I brought it with me. I bring it with me everywhere I go. We talk more about it later. So just so you know what's happening right now, as I drew an ellipse for the top of the coffee cup. So you could draw like my cup, any coffee cup. Find a cup. Find a significant cup in your life. Cups are metaphors for life. And go ahead and draw it right now. Anyone can draw a coffee cup as long as you do the top with an ellipse. And I'll tell you something, a trick. That bottom of that ellipses is going to be darker because it is closer to you. It is closer to you. So you're going to have darker line weight down at the bottom of that coffee cup. And then that coffee, that beautiful aroma, that is going to be an ellipses too. I mean, a curvy line is such a good thing. I also invite my students to always like write some thoughts, you know, when they're drawing, because you want to write down your lessons and you want to be able to share them in class or anything really, like thoughts about life. Guys, just jot them in your journal. Journal's your space, man. It's your space to grow. So look, I'm really darkening the edges of the coffee cup because that's something called a hard boundary. Hard boundary. And a hard boundary is basically where a form ends. You always want to make that decision. You want to make a choice. Be like, okay, bro, my form ends here. A form is a 3D object. If I were to draw this, it ends right here. I'm going to really darken the edges of that coffee cup with a heavy, heavy line weight. Okay, so why do we like warm up with like lights and darks? Why? We do it because we need to be able to have control over our pencils. Lights to darks, right? So if we have that control, we can make a decision about when to make our line heavier intentionally. And always have your eraser. Take a little bit of the eraser. Okay, and so I'm pulling away some of my line. I tell my students, look, bro, there's no such thing as too much line. No such thing, right? And you know what? If you don't like it, if you feel like it's too much or you overwork the drawing, you could take it away. It's this thing called an eraser. That's why we go super light with our line weight. And what's happening right here? I probably realized I made some kind of mistake. I really recommend, guys, start simple when drawing. Like draw spheres. You see my little drawing to the left. You could check out my video on drawing those spheres. Start simple, okay? A cup is like a fancy cylinder or a fancy sphere. My coffee cup is kind of like a circle. It's sort of like a sphere. It's round. So by learning how to draw a sphere, I'm learning how to draw my coffee cup. So we're slowly making it more complicated. I love my coffee cup. You see how it's like a circle. So I'm going really light and I'm dancing all over the page. Make sure you dance all over the page. Well, what do I mean by that? With your lines, right? Go over here. Go a little over here. And go ahead and circle. Circle around, add more line. So I'm a mom, and when I make these videos for my students, every once in a while I'll hear screaming, right? Because my kids are also here, and it's really hard to make these videos, but I think it's important, right? So my advice to all parents out there and all family members out there is to like make time for your art, make time for your family. Yes, your family is important. Family is number one, yes. But you need time for yourself, for your coffee cup. And like the coffee cup is a symbol to me because that is a symbol of my time as a mom. I wake up, I drink my cup of joe. I am by myself. Everyone else is quiet. It's a beautiful time. Okay, so look, guys, more ellipses. Yes. More ellipses. I mean, there is an ellipses around the outside of my coffee cup. It's like my favorite shape is a drawer. It comes so in handy to be able to do these. So if you're like stuck right now and you're like, what is going on? Pause your video, draw an outline of a coffee cup, draw an outline of my coffee cup. Don't freak out. I would double check to make sure you have a cylinder on the top, or sorry, what am I saying? An ellipses on the top and ellipses on the bottom. Make sure it's curved right at the top and curved on the bottom, and make sure that it's kind of like a similar curve. It's the same. So stop, check. Also, it should be curved on the top. Make adjustments if you need to. That's what's beautiful about doing art via YouTube. You can pause your video whenever the teacher's being extra. You can stop, you can send me a text, be like, okay, wait, what? You could take a picture of this. You could trace. I mean, you know, you do you. So hopefully you paused your video if you needed to. Now I am moving on to color. It took me forever to realize that I needed to explain to my students that you should stop and you should color the background. It wasn't until like the third year of my BFA in art that a teacher explained to me, a painter, a famous like painter, I don't know if he's famous, but he's a good painter, that you should stop and you should color the background. Why? Well, I could get more into that if I have time, but like, guys, stop and shade the background. And this is fun because it's a break from the art piece. You can't really mess this up. I mean, you're just coloring. So I'm using dual tip HU markers, and I'm not complaining about them, but they're dying. Donor Shoes bought them for my students, and they've been going really well, but after a while, they die. And I'm telling you, students, if your markers died, maybe we could get you more. I don't know. But if your markers died, that's a good thing. You've been using your markers. Hopefully not leaving the top off. So make sure you shade the background of your art. The reason we do that is because you need a value in the back. Now don't be like, it looks all ugly and I'm going to give up. No, don't give up. You can like layer on top. See, I'm cleaning it up. I'm adding some yellow on top. You can layer on top. And I'm trying to take away all that like weird yickiness caused by the dry marker. So I'm coloring on top of it. So don't trip, just layer on another color. It's all good. Okay, and the reason we bring down it to a darker value, oh yes, that marker is working. That should fix it up. See, I'm using the fat, yes. Okay, cool. So I'm fixing it up. Guys, a dark value is so important. Yeah, I'm gonna go over that whole mess. Now, why didn't I just edit that out? Because what I'm doing for my students is I'm modeling the artistic process. For years, kids didn't understand that art and getting better at drawing takes time. And I'm like, why? Why aren't they getting that? Because I'm not modeling it. So that's what's so great about these art videos. I can model the struggle of art. Art is a struggle. So like the kids can like draw with me. Hopefully they're actually listening to this and didn't mute me. Maybe they're playing their tunes in the background, but they can draw with me as I do my artistic process. Now I put some texture in the background. Okay, now I'm going back to the form. So I had a nice break and I'm going back to the form. Why color the background? Because the lightest object should be the form. The form should be white because the form is your focal point. Bam! That is your point of interest. That is where you want the eye to go. You want your viewer to see your coffee cup or whatever symbol you picked, whatever cup you want to fill. You want them to see it as a source of beauty. So you want it to have the light on it, the truth. You want to put a spotlight on your coffee cup or your pop can or your whatever cup. Pick a cup. I really recommend drawing cups. Okay, I need to talk about the actual drawing. I don't know if you can see, like my coffee cup has like these like brown rings around it. Wow, wow. And so what I'm doing is I'm doing these ellipses. Yes, I'm going back to the ellipses. Ellipses, ellipses, ellipses. I'm doing these ellipses around the entire form because line creates form. It envelopes. By having these circles, kind of like around the face or the arms. Why do I keep talking about the human? Because if you could draw a coffee cup, you could draw a human being. And we'll get into that in other videos, right? But it's all about the spheres. So like these curvy lines, the curvy lines tell me that the coffee cup is 3D and it's a beautiful thing. Okay, so notice how I take a break from an area and then I go back in. I'm taking a break and I'm like, okay, I need to understand my midtones, which is like my middle values, I need to understand my dark values, which is the coffee. The coffee is the darkest value. That's some dark coffee. That's some black coffee. So, and then I need to understand the lightest value, which is my sacred coffee cup, which is my artifact of meaning. And so if I have those extremes, light, my middle tones, and if I have my dark value identified, then I can work slowly to create everything in between to unify the art piece, to have a full range of values. So I have a middle value, which is the brown right now. I have the lightest value, which is the coffee cup. And then I have the darkest value, which is the coffee. Okay, guys, it's getting fancy. I'm doing an upside down ellipse. And I'm doing a bottom side ellipse. Ellipse is like a curved line. Vroom, vroom, vroom. And I learned how to do these like kind of like swooping strokes because my dad, he's awesome. He's a car designer and he would do it when he was drawing cars. Shoom, shoom. Low, low. Hi, hi. I wonder if my dad's watching this video. Hi. Look, Daddy. No, I call him Papa. Look, Papa, no hands. Okay, I'm going in with the thin. Notice how I'm getting different line weights with the markers. I learned that too by watching my Papa. You go like light to dark with the marker. So I'm going in with like what looks like, oh, this beautiful dark blue. Oh, color makes me so excited. What makes you happy in life, guys? Color makes me happy. Do we think about color enough? Like, it's so beautiful. The world's such a beautiful place. Yes, it's stressful, but it's also beautiful. Coffee cups are beautiful. So I'm doing these like ellipses with this dark value. And it's like so fun. And where am I getting that dark value from? I think that's a shadow. Guys, I am like adding some hatching. Hatchings are straight lines. Hatch, hatch, hatch. I am adding some hatching and clearing my throat. I'll edit that out. I can hear the audio. I'm adding some hatching to show the shadow. So, wow, that's a really dark value that I'm using right there. That's crazy. I'm being like bold. I usually tell my students start with light values, go dark. Okay, light. Identify your light value, identify your midtones, identify your dark values, but then like go ease in. But I went bold. Okay, take a break. Notice how I'm dancing all over the coffee cup. Okay, if you're overwhelmed, pause, post what you got, post your progress, catch up, draw whatever coffee cup you want to, and you're just slowly adding in light, middle, and dark values. Okay, so a key to drawing is knowing and thinking about where the light source is coming from. The sun, when I'm doing this series for the most part, is like behind my art piece because I'm drawing in front of a window. Like I'm in front of a window now, so the light's coming on my face. I always shoot in front of a window because that's like great light, like I'm looking at a window. So yeah. And now, see this light blue, that's a good mid-tone to be working with at this phase. Like it's not risky, but you're getting some values in. Curvy, 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 around, around, around. Okay? Students, you can draw whatever you want, you know? Like, I recommend sticking with things that are simple in shape. Yeah? No? Are you drawing? Let me know. Write a comment. Write in the chat. Wave at me. I mean, tell me, give me some hints. So, all of my marker strokes are showing that the coffee cup is round. The coffee cup that I don't have, that's only there. It's in the dishwasher. Don't get mad. Curvy, curvy, curvy. So yeah, all of those strokes are showing me that it's curvy. And I love this coffee cup because it kind of has like lines in it. So I can see the ellipses. Like it's a really cool coffee cup. So, you know, if you don't have a coffee cup you love, you can draw mine. And then stop and write some thoughts. It's an interesting angle too. You could draw it at a different angle if you want. Whoa there. Okay, so I'm using some white out. Actually, it's gouache, but I'm sending white out home to the students. So you may not have it yet. Don't go extra. But if you have like white out, this is gouache or any sort of white paint, that always comes in handy because you can add highlights. Like sometimes the page gets so dark, you can't take stuff away, especially when you're dealing with marker. So it just comes in handy. And you really always want there to be areas of white when you're drawing your coffee cup or whatever you're drawing, because you want to show where that light's coming from. So always ask yourself, where is my highlight? Okay, I'm working in some shadows. That shadow right there is so important because it shows the relationship between the edge of the mug and the coffee cup. It kind of like shows how it's connected. Like this. In the coffee cup, we're showing how they meet. And then that's a dark shadow. Fabulous. Fabulous, so fabulous. Okay, I'm feeling like it's my coffee cup. You know, and I love, and I'm using a darker blue. So guys, make sure, have you done the value exercise? Right? If you don't know the difference between lights and dark values and you skip that assignment, I would go back and I would check out that video and I would do it. Because I'm making choices. Where the shadows are, I'm using dark values. Where the light is, I'm using light values. So I'm looking at the coffee cup and I'm thinking, okay, where is the light hitting? Where is the shadows? And I am asking myself, how dark is that value? And then I pick the right color. So much of art is picking the right color and making your line go in the right direction. You got to pick the right color. And by pick the right color, I mean pick the right value. Number one. And you've got to make your lines go in the right direction, because making your lines go in the right direction help the viewer to understand the book. It's a form and it's 3D. So yeah, that is totally my coffee cup. I love my coffee cup. What do you guys love? Write in the chat. What things do you love? What do you want to draw? Look around your space. Be like, what brings me joy? And then you should draw that thing, because once you've drawn it, it will bring you even more joy. So I'm adding in some more highlights. Only do that if you can. You know, you might have white out somewhere in your house. So I'm raising the level of the horizon line. This is so interesting. The form, or the white, is my sketchbook, and the background is the table and all that texture. So I'm adding hatching in with that and making it 3D. And it looks like I'm softening the edge of the shadow by adding some hatching. You can hatch with white. You can hatch with an eraser. You can draw lines with white out. Like, something to think about. It's not about adding dark. Sometimes drawing is about taking away. And what makes this a decent drawing, in my opinion, I like this drawing. What makes it a decent drawing is because it's something I love. Pick something you love to draw. Pick something you love. And there's a full range of value. And lines are going in different directions. Something you love, full range of something you love, full range of value, and the líneas or envelope, they're going in all sorts of directions. I'm really exploring, and that is the goal with this video series, people, is we are building up to being able to draw things that are 3D, because we are surrounded by 3D things that we love right now. And we might as well draw them as we explore ourselves, as we explore life. Okay, you may have thought I was done. Now, nuh-uh. I am not done. I am adding in darker values. What am I using? You may ask. I'm using a touch view marker, but you guys have these. These are gray. So pause your video, and pull out all your grays out of your marker kit. You have grays. You have cool grays. They says CG, and you have warm grays, and it'll say MG. Pull those out, and you can layer them on top. Okay, so I'm going around. I'm using that dark blue again. I love that dark blue. I'm really defining the edge of the coffee cup. I invite you to draw things that fill you up like a cup. Cup is a great exercise. Again, sphere, ellipses, that's the point. And then draw like an ellipses down at the bottom. So really defining the edge, fabulous, really coloring it. I love it. Shading. So what's great about the markers is you could use the edge of the markers to kind of do a medium line weight. The markers, you get skinny, they can make fat lines, and they can make medium lines. Okay, so I'm bringing in some cross hatching. I'm bringing my line down. So that is a dark value, guys. I am taking a risk. So if you're like, oh my gosh, I can't go that dark. Well, we live in the 21st century, guys. Stop, take a picture, and then keep working at your drawing. My Apple Watch is telling me to breathe. Does that annoy anyone? If someone tells you to breathe? Okay, so stop if you are like, no way, I'm not gonna go that dark. I'm gonna mess up my drawing. And take a picture. And then go back in. That is what my advanced art students taught me last year. They're awesome. And you never give up on a drawing. You can always go back to it. Now my students, now everyone out there, add your darkest values. Notice how I haven't used black yet, but I'm getting there. I'm using dark grays. So what's happening, guys, now is I am adding grays. I am layering grays on top of each other. And it's so exciting. And there we go. That ellipses right there, right? It's all about the curvy ellipses. That's going to make something look 3D. That's your key, people. When I started bringing ellipses into my repertoire, I felt free. So, if you're overwhelmed, pause, do some ellipses. Okay, I am really defining the edge of the coffee cup. That is a hard boundary. The edge of the coffee cup is a hard boundary. The side of the coffee cup is a soft boundary. This is a soft boundary. All of that. It's soft. Meaning it's still part of the coffee cup, but there's a slow change. So it's a soft change in value. Hard boundary, you're going to have a sudden change between dark and light. It's like different. So you want there to be contrast between the foreground and the background. That's why I love so much that like the table is at a lighter value. Like that's so great. Whoa, what am I doing here? I'm bringing in purple. What am I doing? I did this drawing like maybe 2 weeks ago, and now I'm getting to the narration. I don't know, I like it. It creates balance. You look at some of the greatest watercolor sketches that are in Insta now, and people are using this purple color, like for shadows. I'm all about using purple for the shadows. It's pretty. I'm creating, I guess, some movement. I'm like circulating line around the coffee cup because it's sacred and I love it. So, you keep working on your piece until you're done. And I'm making little notes to myself, and I like to model this thinking for my students. I think it's so important to model thinking for everyone. Lessons I am learning. So guys, pause next to your drawing, write some thoughts. What are you learning? Well, a good lesson would be line can go in any direction. Ellipses come in handy. I should have a full range of value. I should use all of my art supplies. Questions. I don't know what I wrote, but I'm just modeling that, your sketchbook should be a place of learning. And like so often people are afraid to do art because they're like, oh, it won't look nice. Well, it doesn't matter. I mean, that's how you gotta make mistakes. It's gotta get better. As long as you're doing something, as long as you're creating, then you're gonna be a happier person. What am I writing there? Embrace the mess. I think that's what I'm writing. Embrace the mess. Always. I can't read my writing. But great step. I would tell anyone, and my friend Evelyn, my student Evelyn Ordonez taught me this. I mean, I knew this, but like she said it to me, and then I was like, dang, that's important. I should say that to kids and to students and to artists, is draw with a pen, right? And I remember my art teachers talking about this in college and my high school art. You should draw with a pen. That's the coolest thing, because it's like you're no longer afraid of making a mistake because you can't take it back unless you have some whiteout. But it's so fun to draw with a pen. And I just really emphasize the hard boundaries at the edge. So I invite everyone to draw what they love and to really layer your pen. Your last step should be to add pen. Last step. Because that really, like pen, that's a dark value. And your last step should be to add a dark value. So add in hatching. Add in cross hatching. Go ahead, go in a circle. I'm curving the edges of my coffee cup, like the coffee kind of bends, and I'm drawing a line showing where is the edge of that coffee cup. So I'm really just defining the edges. I'm defining the boundaries. And this drawing is making me happy. It's making me want to drink out of this coffee cup. And if you made it this far and you don't like your drawing, I would say, well, do another one and do another one and keep picking things that you love and draw them. And I would stick to a cup, to be honest. I mean, it's a great challenge. I would pick one that's interesting colors. Okay, I'm doing hatching the other way because if you do hatching both ways, it helps us to understand that something is round. So I'm I'm doing hatching in the inside. That's fancy. But you have to know like where in your drawing you should just leave it white, because then it's like beautiful. You know, like there has to be like white at the edge of your piece at some area. My color theory teacher taught me that. And then you need to have white like on that form, because your art piece needs space to breathe. Always breathe. Breathe in, breathe out. It's a coffee cup. It's cool. And thanks for watching this video, guys. I mean, keep tuning in. Keep creating. Thank you so much. Thank you for making it to the end. I tell my students to subscribe because I have like 10 subscribers and it's just makes me feel like they're watching my videos. So thanks everyone. I want to tell the world to make sure you're doing art wherever you are. Do art and find beauty. May you be happy and healthy, guys. Take care. And then, you know, pause your video. Do it again. Do it again. Just make sure you show me that you did something. Show yourself you did something. Stay accountable, everyone. Bye-bye.